Welcome to the Left Independent. I'm Mike, the Left Independent, and yeah, we've got a lot to talk about tonight. I was supposed to do a stream with Andre Morton for the A&M podcast. Unfortunately, things fell through. Uh, it happens. I do look forward to talking with him soon, but we do have some stuff that we really need to talk about. So the obvious thing. Israel has once again attacked Iran, although whether or not this is the start of World War III is really debatable. But we're going to start off with a couple of items before we get to the main part of the program. So if you're keeping track of the LGBTQIA community, what you're probably going to do is you're probably going to be familiar with the profile called Legal Tweets. Trans man who until recently was proudly trans and very critical of J.K. Rowling and other transphobic bigots, but over the last several weeks has been going over to the dark side. Just recently announced detransitioning, and it's getting stupid. So Aidan Cromaford, I hope I pronounced that correctly, but he posted today, there needs to be a better gatekeeping. Last year, you have no idea what I went through to get there. There was a lot of gatekeeping, lots of it. At this point, you cannot trust a syllable out of this man's mouth. His new gender critical allies should take note as well. And then, of course, Adrian does bring receipts. So this was earlier today. The pissed off lawyer says, I'm medicalized for 7 years. That's now irreversible. There needs to be some better gatekeeping because transition does not serve everyone. But keep being a virtue signaling quote unquote ally with no experience of gender dysphoria, no experience within the actual community itself, and watching it change over 30 years, and with zero experience of any of the things that an LGBT person goes through, keep being performative for clicks. And of course, from August 15th, 2024, the Legal Tweets says, you have no idea what I went through to get here. There was lots of gatekeeping, lots of it, especially since I was considered a pretty girl. Trust me, no one wanted me to transition. I had to fight for that too, go through therapy, go through years of low dosing before I could go on a full dose, etc., etc. A lot happened. And if you were to learn this story, you'd be embarrassed. I'm probably older than you, so you can keep all that. So, yeah. Nobody wanted me to transition, and I guarantee that the new LGBT activist narrative will be that the trans community encouraged him to transition and the gates were flung open for him without any due care. I've seen ideological detransition before, but I've never seen anyone so brazenly lie to people's faces about what his previous story was. He is currently lying to an endometriosis activist. He told his endo story too, rewriting the story in real time. Lie after lie after lie. Someone asked him if he was going to be an LGBT activist now, and he says no, and within days he had LGBT activist in his bio, so no one can trust anything he says, not one word. Up until a few weeks ago, he was calling J.K. Rowling a hag, a transphobe, a racist, saying she's MAGA, which is all true. Today, buddies. Someone asked him if he was going to go MAGA, and he said no. Do you believe them? I don't. At this point, I don't even believe he is really detransitioning in any way, which is why I'm not using she here. He is using the same name, is happy to be called he, but says he doesn't object to other pronouns and isn't going off of testosterone, so that's BS too. Some people who don't want to believe someone can be like this are speculating it's a way to infiltrate gender-critical private groups, except years ago, a trans advocate already did that and did a video essay on it without any false internet drama required. The story, although who knows if it's true, is that he's been cooking for 6 months, changing his mind, but all that time he was still out here criticizing and abusing gender-critical people robustly. Again, how can you trust someone who admits to doing that? So yada, yada, yada. And this really has to do with legal tweets really uh, farming for clicks at this point. So, this is something that really is kind of sad because we all kind of saw it coming because Legal Tweets was holding Twitter spaces, trying to reach out and hold conversations with TERFs and other transphobes, trying to understand how and why they think the way they think and what they believe. And I'm a veteran of the old internet discussion forums from the early 2000s, and I've seen this happen way too many times. You get a liberal forum that prides itself on trying to hold civil dialogue with right wingers who uh, waste no opportunity to call you a terrorist, a deviant, communist, as though that has negative commutations. Whatever under the sun, they'll lie about you, hurl every insult, use every straw man, and get away with it. But the so-called liberal moderators only ever really crack down hard on the left-wingers who, get up in their faces and talk disrespectfully. Because guess what? If you lie to us and insult us and call us names and accuse us of all sorts of things, well, that's blatant hostility, and we're not going to go ahead and take kindly to that. And so invariably, the allegedly liberal moderators and forum owners went hardcore conservative because they just got so far up in the asses of the conservatives that they just went full bore conservatives and dropped any pretenses of being liberal. So that's pretty much what happened here with Legal Tweets. He transitioned, and now he's becoming Buck Angel for the legal profession. Buck Angel being a 60-year-old trans man who did porn, marketed himself as a man with a pussy, and yeah, that was his gimmick. But became a very virulent anti-trans extremist, much like Caitlyn Jenner, who went for being a highly respected and formerly beloved sports figure, Olympic gold medalist, and announced, "Yeah, I'm really a trans woman, and I'm going to live as a woman," and made the transition. But yeah, so that's a lot of what's happening here. So, but Legal Tweets was also posting screen captures and whatnot. So let's see if we can find some other stuff. So let's see if I can find it here. Actually, you know what? Let me call up my own profile here, show my media, because it did actually save screen captures. All right, so all right. All right, here it is. Well, if it'll only load. Okay, so yeah, this is a pissed off lawyer. Says, "I'm detransitioning. My name will still be Hendrix." That's his legal name, obviously. So, this is just, yeah, it's just kind of sad. It says, "I'm detransitioning. My name will still be Hendrix. My birth name carries a lot of abuse with it. So Hendrix stays. I will block anyone using my prior name. I was not talked into this or groomed. This is what I want." Well, unfortunately, no, you were groomed, Hendrix. You were groomed by the TERFs who pretended to be your friend. But if you actually look at if you actually look at what these TERFs do, Let's see if I can find it. All right, and I am not finding it here. All right, I do have it saved somewhere. But here's what I wanted to show you. All right, so this is from the Nazis tolerated gays. This is from Haaretz, which is an Israeli newspaper. It says the Nazis tolerated gays and everything changed. And it goes into, and it is behind a paywall. So, if you're subscribed, you can go ahead and read this. But basically, what it says is that the Nazis did bring some gay people into its regime where they tolerated them, used them to identify and target other gays, and then they started rounding up gays, trans people, lesbians, bisexuals, pretty much anyone considered a sexual deviant. Made them wear pink triangles and hauled them off to the camps. So, but yeah, so that's what's going on. And the thing is, though, we all saw it coming. Because you had to have your civil conversations with the right wingers. Well, we saw this happen with Jimmy Doorknob and Glenn Greenfield and a bunch of other people on the extreme right who LARPed, live action role played as liberals and leftists, and then decided, we're going to reach out and have a civil conversation with right wingers, see if we can bring them over to us. Nope, they got converted. Like, when will they ever learn? But that's not all, because in case you may have heard, Elon Muskrat is out at the White House. He had his falling out with Caligula Drumpf, apparently after getting the shit beat out of him by Scott Bessent, Drumpf's Treasury Secretary, I believe. So, new details surrounding a White House brawl between Elon Muskrat and Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent have spilled out into the open, with one insider saying that Tesla CEO rammed his shoulder into Bessent's ribcage like a rugby player. The Daily Mail was the first to report on the heated confrontation between Bessent and Muskrat, who's since been iced out of Caligula Drumpf's inner circle after their public blow-up this week. The former chief strategist for Drumpf, Steve Bannon, revealed that there was more to the mid-April tussle, insisting that both boys ended up landing blows. They lost their patience with one another following a tense meeting in the Oval Office in which Drumpf snubbed Muskrat and instead took Bessent's advice on whom to name as acting IRS commissioner, Bannon said. When Bessent and Muskrat exited the Oval Office, they began hurling insults at one another in the hallway, but it was Bessent who struck Musk where it hurts. According to Bannon, Bessent dared to say that the billionaire's Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, was a failure since Muskrat didn't root out the $1 trillion in wasteful and fraudulent federal spending he promised he would. Scott said, "You're a fraud. You're a total fraud." That's when Muskrat body checked Bessent, who hit the world's richest boy right back, according to Bannon. Multiple people stepped in to break up the fight as the two boys were getting close to the office of then National Security Advisor Mike Waltz. Muskrat was then escorted out of the West Wing. Bannon previously told the Daily Mail that Drumpf sided with Bessent 100%. Still, Drumpf wasn't particularly happy that the fight took place, according to Bannon. Caligula Drumpf heard about it and said, "This is too much," Bannon said. Details about the Bessent-Muskrat clash only build upon speculation that Drumpf has long been drifting away from his former first buddy, who donated $288 million to his 2024 re-election campaign. They also reinforced that the leakers inside the White House are laser focused on Muskrat. Sources close to the billionaire blew the whistle on his poor relationship with Susie Wiles, Drumpf's no-nonsense chief of staff. He treated Wiles like a secretary, a source told the Daily Mail in April, despite her proven track record of success leading Drumpf's winning 2024 campaign. Well, this is what I was talking about with Andre over on the A&M podcast, is that Muskrat's giggling little 5-year-old psychopath was in the Oval Office a couple months back, basically telling Drumpf while his sperm donor was droning on doing a press release in the Oval Office, and Drumpf is sitting at his desk, and the little brat was whispering to Drumpf, "You're not the president. You need to go." Basically, saying the quiet part out loud that Drumpf was considered by Muskrat to be an employee and not the actual commander in chief, and that Muskrat considers himself to be the commander in chief. Uh, so yeah, and then of course Muskrat accused Drumpf of being all over the Epstein files. Never mind that Muskrat is himself up to his eyeballs in the Epstein files. And let me go ahead and highlight this because I have been pointing this out quite frequently. Yeah, this is Muskrat with Ghislaine Maxwell, who is Jeffrey Epstein's co-conspirator in his sex trafficking ring, which included minors. Yeah. So if you think Elon Muskrat is not up to his eyeballs in the Epstein files, if they do exist, think again. He absolutely is. They both are. Republicans, Democrats, Alan Dershowitz, Bill Clinton, Caligula Drumpf, Elon Muskrat, Joe Biden, I'm sure. So yeah. In early March, there was a wide-scale reporting on an Oval Office blow-up between Muskrat and Secretary of State Marco Rubio. This was in the early days of the Doge-inspired layoffs, and according to the New York Times, Muskrat berated Rubio for not firing anyone at the State Department. Rubio reportedly asked whether the 1,500 State Department officials who took early retirement buyouts counted as layoffs, and he sarcastically questioned if Muskrat wanted him to rehire them so he could fire them again, the Times reported. Most recently, Muskrat's alleged drug use, we say alleged, although he's clearly been high on camera, was laid bare by insiders who spoke to the New York Times. Muskrat was reportedly taking ketamine so frequently that it was affecting his bladder function. Yeah, we wonder if Muskrat was wearing an adult diaper. Well, of course, he's not an adult, so he's probably just wearing a Pampers or something. But the bombshell report also claimed he took ecstasy, psychedelic mushrooms, and traveled with a daily pillbox that contained about 20 different drugs, including Adderall. While all these disagreements played out behind the scenes, things between Muskrat and Drumpf seemed copacetic. In March, when Tesla's stock was tanking and people began firebombing the electric vehicles all over the country, well, it's actually quite the jury's still out as to whether they were firebombed or they just exploded, as they have a habit of doing, because Tesla vehicles do unfortunately have a habit of bursting into flame at random because of bad wiring. So Drumpf brought Tesla to the south lawn of the White House. And of course, after the blow up with Drumpf, time to drop the really big bomb. Caligula Drumpf is in the Epstein files. That is a real reason they've not been made public. Have a nice day, DJT. Again, Muskrat is also in the Epstein files. So whatever happens, it's going to be hilarious watching these two boys try to destroy each other. Both are petty and inclined to annihilate enemies completely. So let's hope they both go down together and mutually assure destruction, because damn, if anyone deserved it more, it would be these two. But of course, someone does deserve it more, and I will be getting to that shortly. So as recently as May 30th, Drumpf was praising Musk for his Doge efforts during a press conference in the Oval Office, even presenting him a golden key to the White House. The era of good feelings only lasted a few days more. On Tuesday afternoon, he posted on Twitter about his unflinching hate for the big, beautiful bill, Drumpf's landmark budget and tax cut bill. I'm sorry, but I just can't stand it anymore. This massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination, Muskrat wrote. Shame on those who voted for it. You know you did wrong. You know it. You know you did wrong. You know it. Oh my God. I mean, the sheer level of temper tantrum, this boy is like a 5-year-old mentally and emotionally, just like his brat. So in response, Drumpf said he was very surprised and disappointed about Muskrat's unabashed criticism. On Thursday, Drumpf threatened to cut off federal loans and subsidies to Muskrat's companies, which received some $38 billion in government money over the last 2 decades. Drumpf doubled down on this idea Friday, telling reporters on Air Force One, "I would certainly think about it, but it has to be fair." He also told reporters that he wished the billionaire well, to which Muskrat replied in a post on Twitter saying likewise. Muskrat then responded to the clip of Drumpf talking about canceling his grant, saying, "Fair enough." Muskrat has sought to soften his tone, basically waving the white flag because he knows he's out and hasn't got a leg to stand on. But he's recently deleted his post on Twitter saying Drumpf was in the Epstein files. But of course, people took screen captures. It's like once it's out on the net, you can't take it back no matter how much you try to delete it. So on Saturday, Drumpf did a phone interview on NBC's Kristen Welker. Said he had no desire to mend his relationship with Muskrat. Said he didn't plan to speak with Muskrat anytime soon. "I'm too busy doing other things." Yeah, we know what those are. I have no intention of speaking to him. And now we go to Times of India, where it goes into more detail about Steve Bannon's dirt dishing. Now, Steve Bannon is himself a pathological liar, but like all right wingers, it's when they're boasting or trying to one up each other that they inadvertently let the truth slip. And this is something that Bannon has been hoping for quite a while. He ended up being pushed out of the first Drumpf regime. Basically because of Drumpf realizing that Bannon was simply using him to press his own agenda, and Muskrat was also using Drumpf. And the thing about Caligula Drumpf is he's the one who has to be using others. Okay, you're not supposed to be using him. And if he thinks that you're not loyal to him, if he thinks you're just using him, he will give you the boot. I think absolutely nothing of getting rid of you. So Muskrat really should have known this. So Caligula Drumpf's former aide Steve Bannon has revealed more inside details of the day Elon Muskrat hit Scott Bessent outside the Oval Office after being called a fraud. Citing to words what people were saying about the fight, Bannon said that was the day he was microdosing. Microdosing is a regime of subtherapeutic doses of drugs. The claim goes along with the New York Times report that Muskrat had gradually become dependent on drugs as he was navigating through personal and professional crises. Gee, you think? The 62-year-old Treasury Secretary fought with Elon Muskrat over the IRS commissioner post, and Caligula Drumpf backed Bessent's pick. After this, Scott Bessent called Elon Muskrat a fraud, which he is, and accused him of lying about government waste. A new account of how their fight unfolded claimed that Muskrat barreled into Bessent like a rugby player, and Bessent hit Elon Musk back, which explains the black eye that he was sporting. So yeah. So yeah, Pink News, which reports on LGBTQIA matters. Did Elon Muskrat really brawl with gay lawmakers stop Bessent? Well, he's not a lawmaker; he's Treasury Secretary. But yeah, right-wing podcaster and former chief strategist for Caligula Drumpf, Steve Bannon, lead claims about. This irritates me to no end. Okay, if you want to use the past tense of lead, drop the A. You keep writing it in the present tense and expecting people to know what the fuck you're talking about. No, you wrote lead when you meant led. Drop the A. Okay, it's not difficult. Jesus fucking Christ. But yeah, I mean, you can go ahead and read this at your leisure. But yeah, like I said, if you're going to go ahead and mention that Caligula Drumpf is indeed in the Epstein files, you better make sure that you are also not in there. Because I guarantee you, Muskrat absolutely is. Hey, trouble in paradise. Trouble in paradise. And now we come to the the meat of today's uh, stream, and that is Israel yesterday launched yet another unprovoked attack against Iran, launching a salvo of missiles at Tehran, hitting some civilian buildings, as well as alleged nuclear facilities, killing a number of Iranian military officials, senior officials, and at least one or two Iranian nuclear scientists. Uh, Marco Rubio, presently Secretary of State, acting National Security Advisor, and God only knows what else, because Caligula Trump cannot keep cabinet members. But Marco Rubio went ahead and said, and this was yesterday, 12th of June, he said, tonight Israel took unilateral action against Iran. We are not involved in strikes against Iran, and our top priority is protecting American forces in the region. Israel advised us that they believe this action is necessary for its self-defense. Caligula Trump and the regime have taken all necessary steps to protect our forces and remain in close contact with our regional partners. Let me be clear, Iran should not target U.S. interests or personnel. Now, I want you to pay attention to this, because Marco Rubio, currently Secretary of State, deliberately lied here, claiming falsely that the United States was not involved in strikes against Iran, when he did, in fact, know that the United States was heavily involved. Because Caligula Trump, today, 13th of June 2025, admitted it full well. And here's a screen cap on his social media platform, Lie Social. He says, I gave Iran chance after chance to make a deal. I told them in the strongest of words to just do it, but no matter how hard they tried, no matter how close they got, they just couldn't get it done. I told them it would be much worse than anything they know, anticipated, or were told, that the United States makes the best and most lethal military equipment anywhere in the world, by far, and that Israel has a lot of it, with much more to come, and they know how to use it. Certain Iranian hardliners spoke bravely, but they didn't know what was about to happen. They are all dead now, and it will only get worse. There's already been great death and destruction, but there is still time to make the slaughter, with the next already planned attacks being even more brutal, come to an end. Iran must make a deal before there's nothing left, and to save what was once known as the Iranian Empire. No more death, no more destruction. Just do it before it's too late. So let me go ahead and call up Ben Norton's post, which I retweeted before I did this. Let me see if I can find it, because I do retweet quite a lot. So, yeah. Ben Norton from Geopolitical Economy Report reports on Trump's boasting to the New York Post, which is a right-wing tabloid. Caligula Trump boasted to the New York Post, I always knew the date of Israel's attack on Iran. I know everything, he gloated. It was a joint United States-Israeli operation. Trump blatantly lied when he claimed before the attack that he wanted peace. So let's go ahead and call this up. Because remember what I just read out loud to you from Marco Rubio, denying that the United States was involved in Israel's latest unprovoked attack on Iran. Caligula Trump told the Post Friday that he knew Israel would strike Iran if the theocratic regime didn't quickly agree to a revised nuclear deal with the United States. I always knew the date, the dictator said in a brief phone interview, because I know everything, I know everything, I know everything. Yeah, keep telling yourself that, Timmy. I gave them 60 days and they didn't meet it. Trump went on. Today's 61, date 61. The dictator never publicly revealed the 60-day deadline, though its existence had been reported by Israeli media until after Israel launched Thursday's attack, and had been coy on whether he fully supported giving Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu the green light to strike. In a video statement Friday, Netanyahu said Israel alerted the United States about the strike in advance. So, contrary to what you've been told by Marco Rubio, yes, the United States was absolutely involved, and Caligula Trump did know about it. This is why, when Jamal Thomas had John Kiriakou and this lying idiot Malouf on his show, claiming that Trump is being kept in the dark by his advisors. No, he's not. He absolutely does know what's going on there. Okay, Trump is an idiot, but he's not crazy. All right. Uh, and here on Fox Noise, because Iran said that it would retaliate, and a lot of people are speculating right now. I'm not going to speculate, but the speculation as to whether or not this is just going to be another weak-willed, tepid response, launch some missiles at Israel, and so as a warning against further attack, and let's not make any mistake. Iran was caught with its pants down. It should have known that the attack was coming. It should have known better than to believe Caligula Drumpf when he told them that Israel was not going to attack right away. But Iran did promise retaliation, and it's retaliating. It is currently launching missiles at Tel Aviv and hitting key targets. And this is going to be very important, okay, because this tells you just how serious Iran really is in its response. Because Nazi Yahoo wanted a war with Iran, and it's getting it. So Fox Noise confirms that Iran has launched a direct strike on the Kiryat, a military compound in Tel Aviv, Israel's equivalent of the Pentagon. Israel's equivalent of the Pentagon. Now, imagine if Russia or China were to launch ballistic missiles and hit the Pentagon. That's what this is. That's what this is. And Ilan Mizrahi, who is a commentator, says, I have visual confirmation. Hakiria has been hit. Now, the codename you're looking for is Hakiria, Israel's most heavily defended, most central military base. Basically, it's equivalent of the United States Pentagon, where the Israeli Occupation Force Command and strategic planning of the Israeli security state is being carried out at the heart of Tel Aviv. If or when Hakiria is seriously damaged, then we'll know with 100% certainty that this is a real war, the one to the end, and the Iranians are not holding back anymore and are capable of strategically damaging Israel's war apparatus. If you see or hear Hakiria in news reports, know that without any doubt, no games are involved in this anymore. And guess what? Fox Noise and other news outlets have confirmed that Hakiria has been hit. CNN reporting live updates, more explosions in Tel Aviv and Tehran as Israel and Iran conflict escalates. So basically, Israel is continuing to fire at Iran. Tehran is hitting back with its missiles. So we're seeing a whole bunch of shit. Let me refresh the page here because all right. So, but yeah, CNN is panicking because it's lost contact with its reporters on the ground, which is not surprising since Israel cut off pretty much all internet access. But let me go ahead and show you something here because I want you to understand just how serious this is. Israel is panicking right now. Because according to Mint Press News, Israel is arresting its own citizens for filming Iranian missile landings. The Israeli military has put out official warnings accusing its own citizens of collaborating with the enemy for filming strikes. This is why there is a limited amount of footage of the Iranian missile attacks outside of Tel Aviv, because Israel is desperate that you do not know how hard Iran is hitting it. Benjamin Netanyahu fled to an underground bunker by the way. So, yeah, this is Washington Post. And I want you to pay attention to the headline here. All right. This headline right here. Iranian missile attack hits Tel Aviv in retaliation for Israeli strikes. In retaliation for Israeli strikes. Now, what is the Washington Post, the New York Times, and pretty much every other United States propaganda outlet known for? Warning its headlines to favor Israel, to make it seem as though it was attacked unprovoked. That's not happening this time. The Washington Post is admitting to you online in black and white that Iranian missiles are hitting Tel Aviv in retaliation for Israeli strikes. Basically confirming that Iran's strikes are defense against Israel for another unprovoked attack. So Israeli officials gave civilians permission to leave their shelters after an Iranian missile barrage struck Tel Aviv and triggered signs across Israel earlier Friday night. Explosions could be seen in Tel Aviv amid a retaliatory attack Iranian officials dubbed Operation Severe Punishment, meant as a response to an Israeli strike against Iran's nuclear program and military targets, and also civilians as well. Because if you don't think that Israel targeted civilians, I've got news for you. That there's images of dead kids. So yeah, that's what's going on. So yeah, I get messages for Palestinian fundraisers. There's a Palestinian who's sharing photos and videos of himself and his infant daughter trying to raise money to escape the genocide. Yeah, her name is Rafif. Yeah, she's about just turned 1 year old, I think, or is about to turn one. But yeah, so this is what's going on. Netanyahu has been under investigation and on trial for corruption, criminal corruption, for a number of years now. Rumors are that he fled to Greece and abandoned his own country. Now, I don't know if this is true. It might not be. There's a lot of conflicting information being flung about on social media, fog of war and all that. So, don't assume that rumors of Netanyahu fleeing to Greece are necessarily true. It would not surprise me because he is that much of a coward. But there are also reports that he's in a bunker in Israel, trying to direct things. We don't know. But if it is true that he's hiding in Greece, he started a war and left his people to face the consequences. And what I am saying is that the bitch fled to stay out of prison, okay? Because if Netanyahu is removed from power, he's going to be convicted in his corruption trial, and he won't be able to stay out of prison. He is not going to get out. So whatever is happening right now, it's just complete. It's just a complete clusterfuck. So yeah, you've got Fox Noise confirming that the Hakira military compound, the Israeli equivalent of the Pentagon, has been hit by Iran. We don't know the extent of the damage yet. I'm hoping total destruction here because if Iran can destroy Israel's primary military command center, that will basically leave Israel in the dark. It's already hit the Mossad building, but Iran obviously is not playing around this time. You don't keep launching unprovoked attacks against Iran, trying to start a war, assassinating its leaders, committing terrorist acts against civilians and scientists, and expect that things will continue as they have been. All right. Iran can only show so much restraint for so long. And I think Tehran is at a point now where it realizes that it can no longer ignore the reality that Israel is hell bent on destroying it. It already destroyed Syria. Iran is next. So Iran is in a fight for its very existence. Israel is not. Contrary to what it claims, Israel is not fighting for its existence. It is fighting to maintain its colonial expansion. It conquered Palestine. It is committing genocide, trying to eliminate the Palestinian people and erase their hold over the land. When it conquered Syria, it seized entire swaths of the country. It's probably going to claim even more because the terrorists it installed when Bashar al-Assad, the legitimate president of Syria, was forced to flee the country. It installed the ISIS and Al-Qaeda terrorist groups that it had been backing with United States support, and that regime is currently letting Israel use Syria as a forward base to launch attacks against Iran, which apparently is what it's been doing. So, because there have again been inconsistent reports. Some said that the drone attacks that hit Iran last night were launched from within Iran from secret locations. Others are saying that they were launched from Syria. So we'll probably be getting more information in as it comes. But right now, things are looking like shit's about to hit the fan. Now, I do not for a minute think that this is going to be World War III. All right, World War III involves nuclear weapons being launched. At which point, nuclear winter and human extinction. That's World War III. So this is a regional war, one instigated by the United States and Israel to try and destroy Iran, even as it tries to wage a proxy war against Russia through Ukraine, and now also wants to start a third war against China. Three-front war. The United States is going down, and so is Israel. Nobody in politics, for as long as I can remember, seems to have read Sun Tzu's The Art of War. It's one of the most ancient manuals for strategy and tactics still in production. It's still in print, published to this day. And not one politician, not one military commander in the West has even bothered to pick it up and read it, much less understand it. If you fight a multi-front war and you don't have the fucking resources to do it, you're going to lose. Trump launched a trade war with China, which has cut off rare earth exports to the United States. Without rare earth minerals, the United States cannot replenish military hardware, weapons, ammunition, computer chips. They can't do it. We don't have the resources. We don't have the infrastructure to extract and refine rare earth minerals or even raw earth minerals, which is like conventional stuff like iron, copper, coal, because you need coal to make steel, obviously. But both conventional raw earth materials and then also rare earth materials, which is minerals that are comparatively rare to others. China holds really the vast majority of what the United States uses because it's been importing, and also relies on China for manufacturing. The United States doesn't have an industrial base anymore. It outsourced all that decades ago to what it considered third world countries. We no longer have the capability to extract and refine rare earth materials, even if we had them in sufficient quantities. We don't. And then even if you manage to get a hold of what you need, it's going to take years to develop the extraction and refinement processes necessary to replenish your weapons of war. And it's going to take years after depleting your reserves, all your old stock, because we're not giving Ukraine our best and most up-to-date stuff. We're giving them primarily our old stuff that's already on its way out, as far as operational usefulness is concerned. But we cannot replenish our stocks. We don't have the manufacturing capacity. It's going to take years to do that. Years to develop the tech and the machines to extract minerals. Years to develop refinement. Years more to build the factories that will be required to mass produce hardware. We don't have years. Trump wants an open war against China by end of next year, beginning of 2027. That's not happening. And if Iran decides to blockade the Strait of Hormuz, that's it. World oil prices skyrocketing. It won't hurt China or Russia any because they've got plenty of their own oil and they can export it to allied nations. But transporting oil over land, which is what the United States and Israel are going to have to do, that's incredibly difficult. A lot more difficult than transporting it by sea, which is what we've been doing primarily. I mean, yeah, you could build pipelines, but those have a nasty habit of leaking or busting open because they're not well maintained in the West. Certainly not here in the United States. And how are you going to get oil truck tankers, over mountainous regions, through severe weather, through deserts? The logistics are all screwed up. So if Iran decides to cut off the Strait of Hormuz, there is no way that the United States Navy is going to be able to open it back up, especially given Iran's drone and missile capabilities. And if China or Russia decide, you know what, we're going to back up Iran and defend it now that we know it's serious about defending itself, unlike Syria, which, to be fair, Assad really kind of let things deteriorate in Syria to the point where it fell all too easily to the invading ISIS and Al-Qaeda forces. But Iran, as corrupt as its regime is, as complacent as it's been, it does have some military capabilities. This is not going to be a war fought on the ground. I guarantee you it's not, because Israel trains its soldiers to slaughter innocent men, women, and children, helpless, unarmed children. You put an Israeli soldier up against an actual soldier from an actual army, fold like sheep lawn chairs. They can't do it. They shit their pants and scream and die. That's what they do. So you're not going to transport an Israeli military across hostile territory because as much of a bitch as the Arab League is, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Jordan, Dubai, You're going to have to go overland through Jordan, through Syria to try and get to Iran, but you're not necessarily going to make it through unscathed because those Arab regimes, they don't control their people. No, they think they do. They don't. Saudi Arabia has terrorized its people for decades, and has a. I mean, it's basically geared towards its own survival. And if it suspects for even a minute that letting Israel through the Holy Land, the Muslim Holy Land, the site of Mecca, the holiest place in Islam, if you think Saudi Arabia is stupid enough to let Israel go through its country unscathed to try and attack Iran, you're out of your fucking mind. And I suspect the similar is true for Jordan and other states. Syria, it's not. I think that's probably the weak link where it might have some better luck, but Jolani over in Syria doesn't have full control of the country. I don't think he's going to be able to stop Syrians from attacking Israeli forces if they try to transport themselves overland to try and take on Iran. So I think this war is going to be fought with drones and missiles. And right now, Iran has the advantage. As we saw last year, if you were paying attention, Israel launched missiles at Iran, killing scientists and politicians in targeted assassination strikes, launches of missiles at two different intervals to respond to two different attacks that basically overwhelmed Israel's so-called Iron Dome missile defense shield, which turned out to be the Paper Dome, which right now Iran is overwhelming. And then, of course, you have to consider Yemen, because the Houthis have been successfully blockading U.S. and Israeli shipping through the Red Sea. So if you really think that the United States Navy is going to be able to unblock the Strait of Hormuz if Iran decides to cut it off, think again. So really, if Nazi Yahoo really wants to destroy Iran, he's going to have to go nuclear. And if he does that, then I don't know, man. I don't know. I can't see even Russia or China abandoning Iran if Israel decides, oh, we're going to launch nukes and try and destroy Iran that way. Because Iran, I guarantee you, if Iran even suspects that Israel is going to launch a nuclear weapon, I guarantee you it's got the capacity to load nuclear material aboard its conventional missiles, and they may not all get through, but enough will. And the final barrage of missiles fired from Tehran as the Israeli nukes sail through the air, yeah, Israel's going to get destroyed. Self-annihilation, mutually assured destruction. That's what we're looking at. And Iran and if Russia and China don't back Iran up on this, then what's the point of the new global world order of multipolarity if it can't even defend its allies? So I think if Moscow and Beijing are smart, and they are, they're going to back Iran up on this. They can't afford not to. Now, India has always been the weak link in terms of the BRICS economic alliance. but it can be expelled with very little harm done. Uh, but if Iran is taken out, that's a serious blow to BRICS. And if Russia and China can't even defend Iran, how are they going to convince the rest of the world that they can defend other countries against the United States and Israel? They have to step up here and bring an end to this conflict and make it clear that Israel's violence will not any longer be tolerated. And if that means wiping Israel off the map and saying, okay, look, you surrender now unconditionally, you abandon Israel, you go back to your countries of origin, to Europe, to the United States, uh, go back where you came from, and leave Palestine, and you'll live. But if you continue to wage war against Iran and your neighbors, they're going to destroy you. So it's either leave Palestine forever or cease to be, because they're not playing around anymore. That's what I would be telling them if I were Putin or Xi Jinping. I'll be telling Nazi Yahoo, look, the only choice right now is to surrender unconditionally, turn yourself in, you'll probably be executed for war crimes. But if you don't do that, Israel's going to cease to exist the hard way. That's what I would be saying. But I'm not Putin and I'm not Xi Jinping. I'm just a commentator with an opinion and not much else. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. I will try and see if I can get onto Andre's podcast. He's dealing with some stuff, like I said. I'll see if I can get on there and we can talk about that more. But just wanted to get my own opinions out on this. This is the Left Independent saying good night and good luck.